start with
Okay, it's February 16th, 2019. Elinor Wiles is going to tell the fellow's story.
dumb hat off.
That's right.
Okay. On the Fellows side, Ed E.B. Fellows. And while I'm talking, his father lived in New Hampshire when it wasn't a state. So the first people that come from England probably were either thieves or else people with money, and I don't know which. Right? Okay. And his dad, that's my grandfather. I'm going to start there. E.B. Fellows. He was born in 1846 and he died in 1908. And he was an optimist and a friend to all. That's what it says. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Probably is.
So that was your grandfather.
That's my grandfather. His wife, my grandmother was named, on my father's side, was named Louisa, Louisa, Louisa M., wife of E.B. Fellows. She was born on April the 10th of 1850, and she died on April 8, 16, no, wait a minute, I'm back up. She was born on August the 10th, 1850, right?
Yep.
And she died on April
8th.
8th of what?
1896.
1896, and she died with tuberculosis.
He didn't live long.
And they lived in a great big old house, and my dad was 9 years old, and he saw him trying to get her down the stairs, and rigor mortis had set in. And they had to, I don't know how, they shoved her around somehow, but that must have been traumatic for him to see that.
It had to be, yeah.
And she died upstairs, and they had this huge house. I'll tell you the story later about my mother having to stay awake in that house.
At that time, they were in New Hampshire?
What?
Were they in New Hampshire at that time?
No, they were right here. They had come to Missouri and bought on the Nishnabotney River around and Fairfax, Missouri, and Tarkio and that area. My grandfather had enough land to leave each person 200 acres, and there were 9 children.
Wow.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Wow.
Nice. Okay, now, little John died. He was one of them. He died, and they were digging potatoes, and it was a warm, sunny day, and they were digging the potatoes, but it turned cold, and they forgot little John. And I think he was 9. Is that correct? Here, wait a minute, let me see. He was, can you read that? My eyes, sorry about it.
No, you're okay.
Can you see that with that? I think he was 9 years old, but they went out and found him, and they brought him in, but he had died with pneumonia. And pneumonia was the one thing that killed 3/4 of these people
I can't read
before they had any penicillin or any antibiotics or
I don't think we have another magnifying glass in here.
But his name was John J. And I can't read what it said, can you?
No, I can't read
No, can't read it. But on every tombstone in Fairfax, when you go there, it'll have an epitaph on that whole family. And then Pearl, she died. She was out at a dance. No, I've got to tell this right now. Pearl was the one that she went to a dance and got her feet wet. I don't know why, but she died with pneumonia.
And who was Pearl?
Pearl was my dad's sister.
Your dad's sister, okay.
Yeah.
They had 9 kids. That's what you said, right?
They had 9
Yeah.
children. The rest of them are not buried here except his brother Alan was buried in Fairfax too, at Pleasant Ridge Cemetery at Fairfax, Missouri. And my grandmother's old house is right on 275 going by there. It's kind of got that gingerbread porch on it and all that
And
stuff.
that was Nima.
Nema. Her name was Nimba. She never wanted to be called Grandma. And Ed was.
You know where that's at, don't you, Bill?
And your granddad was
Uphill.
Saducci. He called her Nimba. How he got that out of Grandma, I'll never know. But they liked it so well, that name, that even Aunt Grace and my mother ended up calling her Nimba instead of Mama.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now on, and let's see if there's anybody else buried there. Okay, my dad was born in, oh, this is such a poor. My dad was born in 1887, and he died in 1941 in November, and he had TB of the kidneys. And his brother, Uncle Alan, I don't have his, I think I can find it. He died with tuberculosis too, and pneumonia. They had put him, he was a forerunner of the hippies. When I was a kid, he had a long beard and walked to town and back. And the boys went out to visit him one time in the cold weather, and they was bossing Jimmy around, the little one, my little brother. And Uncle Alan left all of what he had. He didn't have much, but he had 2 different banks, and he had how much acreage, Roy? You remember? Sold it.
Not
Quite a
that
little
much,
bit of
probably
money,
maybe 20 acres.
but
Two
my brother
spots.
run through it. But anyway, he got it, and them other 2 was left with their mouths open. John F. and Edward.
And Grandpa?
Huh?
Yeah.
John F. and Grandpa?
Who?
His dad.
Ed, yeah.
That
His granddad.
was my dad's brother,
But he's
Alan.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
talking
Fellows.
about my Grandpa Fellows. He
Oh,
didn't get
yeah.
anything because
He
he
didn't get
kept running his mouth.
They got zilch.
What about Elinor?
I didn't want anything. Girls didn't count in our family, I guess. Okay, Flood Fellows was my dad's name, and Flood L. Fellows, his name was really Lewis, but he never used it. And that Flood came from their family, that was the family lawyer's last name. And he died, he died in 1941, right before the war, right before the boys had to go to the service. So, that we were spared that. And my mother, oh, I want to tell you one more thing. He lost the farm that he inherited during in 1929 when the stock market dropped, and he said, "Don't ever put any money in the stock market." I haven't too either. And the other thing he told, it broke his heart when he lost that farm. And he died in let's see, I was 16 when he died, so.
1941, you said?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And didn't he build a
1941.
new house too about that time?
Yes, he did. He built a new house right about 10 years before.
No kidding.
And the house we moved from, was brand new, pretty new. It was about 10 years old when I was born. And when he lost it in 1929, I wasn't 10, I was 5. But anyway, when he lost that farm, we moved into a house that you could see through the floors and it would be cold.
Oh,
My
I bet-
mother scrubbed the kitchen. If it was cold, it froze.
Is that right?
And we learned, and then they put a little stove upstairs and we had a home comfort range that they cooked with, and that's how you heated the kitchen. And then my dad had put in a new, when we got a little bit of money, we put in a new stove that run on desolate. That was, it wasn't kerosene in those days. They
It
used
was
kerosene
They
now.
called it desolate.
Desolate. D-I-S-S-L.
Well, they had
Was that the oil then?
Huh?
Was that like an oil then?
stove fuel.
Oh,
Okay.
it's just
It
a
was a
second
4
grade.
grade
of
kerosene,
kerosene.
Okay.
but it worked good in stoves. Yeah,
Now I lost the
we
thing
had
again. There it is. All right, my mother was born. Her dad was, my mother's dad was, we've got the picture of that too. I don't know just when he was born and when he died, but I'll tell you later. Her name was Allie G. Fellows, Grace. No, I'm sorry. Allie, It was the same name as Adeline.
Okay.
And they got it wrong on here. It should have been A. It wasn't Allie C. I don't know how they got that because her name was Adeline. That may have been an A and part of it faded out.
Yeah.
No, what was her maiden name though?
Her maiden name was Allie Grace.
Allie Graves. Now where did the Graves come from?
Grace was her only sister, and she was mean.
No, but where
Was that Aunt Nasty?
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
where did the Graves come from though?
Where
Were
Where
they
did
New,
Grace come from?
where they come out of New
You
Hampshire
never
too?
got to know Grace, did you?
Allie
I met her
Grace
once.
Did you?
Grace
She come
was her
downstairs
last
and go to
name.
Mesa one
Where
time.
do you think they were
I was
raised
dating
at?
Bill.
Where were her
Everybody
people
talks to me
from?
about it.
Tennessee.
Tennessee before Tennessee. Where would they come from?
I don't know. It's hazy on my mother's
John,
side
quit
because I
lying.
never
Give
did
Tom
get it.
and
I
John
should
a
go through
nickel
that.
piece one
Now,
time.
Could it have been sweet or
Melissa
something?
has some of
An hour
this.
later,
She's on that
got mad at him. And
Mel does.
give me,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
give me that nickel
Right.
back.
And
Tom said,
my
"Here."
mother was born in
John said, sorry.
1894
I'm
and
up
she died
down
in
with
1958.
Okay.
Boy, that
She was
really
64 years old.
What kind of gal was she?
Smart.
Not
Really
lady.
smart, bright.
Attractive lady.
Smarter than any one of her kids.
A very attractive lady.
Well,
I
Was
said,
she?
Hair.
somebody told me one time, they said, I hope my kids he said, my kids never did what they expected. I said, we didn't do what my mother expected.
Do you
But-
have pictures of Grandma?
I don't think I've ever seen a picture of her.
You
No.
didn't see
Really?
her.
No, I don't think I've seen her.
I've
You-
got some.
My dad probably showed me, but I was probably young enough. I
You
really
know,
didn't give a
I'll
shit.
tell you
Isn't
something.
that DVD I sent you?
Yes.
Fellows family. There's quite some pictures in there.
Okay.
You probably didn't know who it was.
Very possible. Yes.
Do you want to hear this?
Sure.
Aunt Nasty was up visiting your mother and dad, and you were little like John.
Yeah.
And
And we're talking about Jim Fellows.
we're talking about you,
Yep.
Jim
Yep.
fellas. And she said, you got in a fight over a toy, and she says, I'm betting on the Southern blood. That was
What's that?
John.
It was
you
John.
and AJ was,
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
AJ.
Oh, so she was betting on AJ to
Yeah,
win.
because he had Southern blood.
Oh no.
You all had the same blood, but she just, that's
Yep.
how she was
Yep.
nasty.
That's funny. That's funny.
She had to make a nasty remark.
Butch always called her. He never called her by her name. It was Aunt Nasty.
Oh, I
And
never
if Bush
called her
did-
that nasty to her face, I'd been a corpse.
If Butch didn't like you, you were probably an ass. I would imagine.
What?
Yeah. I said if Butch never liked you, you were probably a jerk because
He
he
didn't-
liked everybody.
He didn't like her.
No, he had no time for her at all. I do remember
She
that.
was so bossy with kids. That's what it was. When she'd come to visit us, it was horrible.
What's it? No, I'm good.
Who's somebody outside?
No, ask me.
No, yes, no.
Okay, now, where are we?
Bill got some of that.
Did you get into some of that?
Oh, yeah. And she had me haul. Roy and Elinor had me haul her one time from Downs to Concordia.
Okay.
In a '57 Chevy. And she
Okay.
never said one word to me the whole trip, and I was running wide open.
Were you?
Who Aunt Nasty?
Yeah, you remember she was
Yeah,
going to
that was-
Downs or someplace.
That
She
was
worked on
when
that
she.
bridge.
Was that when she was? Your dad was in that wreck when he went after her at the birdcage.
No, this was way after that. She come to visit you, and she's over
Yeah.
at Downs, and then you guys wanted me to give her a ride back to Concordia, and I give her a ride in my
That's
'57
just before
Chevy.
you went to Vietnam.
That was in '68.
Yeah, that
Well,
old
I remember,
Chevy.
I
Yeah.
remember meeting her when I was dating you.
Yeah.
Because she came down, she had that mink stole thing
Oh.
around her, and Granddad made fun of her because she had those minks. They had the heads on them. And then your dad went and bought a steak for her, you know.
Yeah, I don't think
Your mom-
nobody else ate steak, but she did.
Yeah, she got the steak. It was
Your
funny.
dad almost lost his life going down there when she
I know. I was
went
with
down
him. I was
after-
with him.
You were with him, weren't you?
Brother John and
He
I, and,
almost lost
and your
his
dad.
life
Did you hear
going
that
down
story?
after
hadn't you?
What was
Nasty.
that? Maybe. What was the
She-
story?
She,
She was in a mental institution. Well, after her husband died, she lost it.
Okay.
And she never was the same again. And she just picked at people till she was 78.
Was she nice
And
to
the
you
last
before
time
that?
I talked to her on the phone, I said, "Do you want me?" I offered to go get her. She was in a nursing home. They stole her fur coat, and she.
They were giving her shock treatments, and
Yeah, they gave
Oh,
her
no.
shock treatments and all that stuff. And then when
so your dad and my dad, your dad drove down to Concordia, and got with my dad and
Mhm.
little John Allen and I,
Okay.
and we drove all the way to Richmond, Virginia. and we had a wreck about 100 miles before we got to Richmond, and flipped the car over several times.
I think I heard briefly about that a
They
little
run
bit.
in a bunch of deer, didn't
Right,
they?
a bunch of deer.
Night.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to be driving all that night anyway, because they drove it nonstop,
Yeah.
and a bunch of deer in those foothills coming
They
out
just
of
had
the
so
bad
many-
roads.
So many days that they had off, so they had to hurry, didn't they?
And of course, your dad and my dad just had a little whiskey on the way too. But
Very possible.
but anyway, make a long story short, we picked her up and then drove her back. And where did we take her to?
My house.
Oh, good. Was that where you brought her to? Was your house?
She was the best that summer when she was crazy that she had ever been in her life to me.
She was nice. It's nice
Yes,
to you
and she
then.
couldn't eat anything before. She would be sick all the time. She ate there, and she helped me sometimes buy the steaks, and we'd put them in under the broiler in the little stove we had. And I'm telling you, she ate steak, and she ate raw vegetables, she ate salads, she ate anything she wanted to, sweets, ice cream. And she said afterwards, she remembered it after she got back to herself. And she said, you know, I don't know how I ate all that stuff. I said, that's because you wasn't nervous, you know.
Didn't hurt her.
Well, being nervous is what caused her. She had an irritable bowel syndrome.
You take her in a restaurant, she'll go back and check the kitchen, see if it's
Well,
clean.
don't tell on me what I did.
And same thing in hotels. When she checked into a hotel,
There's
she had to
another
look at the
great.
room before she'd rent.
She goes, yeah.
Really?
She had
We
the
was in
box.
Mexico,
Oh, she had money.
went back
She
and
had
checked
money.
her.
Where did
And
her
go back
husband
and
do,
go.
or what did?
Where do I?
She
What-
went in there,
Oh.
come back. It's safe.
Wilhelm von Helmont was her husband.
What was his name?
William von Helmont.
What did
Wilhelm.
What did he do for a living?
Sold stuff for the
Well,
blind.
here I
didn't
want to tell you a funny story.
Okay,
Grandma, Nimma didn't like him.
your
Well, he
mother,
took it.
your mother,
No, Nimma.
your
Grandma.
your
My
grandmother.
grandmother did
Okay,
not like him.
okay.
Okay, so when they said, well, Grace, she all around Fairfax, they were telling Grace married and they said, what does he do? She said he sells Venetian blinds, and he was head of the blind commission in New Jersey.
That's funny.
I had never
You
heard
hadn't
that.
heard that
No,
one.
that's good.
That is funny.
My mother laughed, and he said, and my mother got in an argument with him once over the Saturday Evening Post. We'd get it once a week, you know, on Saturday, the Saturday Evening Post. Well, he said he got it a month early, and she said, that's a lie. She said, everybody gets it at the same time. New York don't get it any faster than we do. Well, she was mad.
But didn't he marry her kind of for money?
He was broke when he married her.
How did she get her money from that farmland then?
She was so stingy. She saved every dime she ever had in her life. And boy, I used to tickle me to death. He'd go eat something somewhere, and what would he do? Lay down a $5 bill on the table. This was way back. And
That was just a tip.
that
at
was the
restaurant.
tip. He'd just lay that tip in the restaurant. It used to be 10 cents you'd leave, or
We
20.
was down there one time, and they was eating breakfast. You guys just go downtown and eat. Here's $10. Said eat and then leave the rest for a tip. Well, hell, it only cost you maybe 60 cents for a
To eat your breakfast.
Oh, is that right?
Hell, you could get a full meal for 75
And
cents.
he always drove those big Buick, what they call four rollers.
I said,
the
well,
highest
I'll
dollar
leave
car
the
that
tip,
Buick made.
but I ain't leaving
We
all
went up
that.
to
I
Estes
just
Park
took the
with him
money
one
to
time.
hell with him.
We went
He's always
up to
smart
Estes
ass.
Park, and he drove down off
And
of there.
crazy driving.
Oh, I'm telling you,
He's wore
just
out.
around
He's
it,
crazy,
just
he's
showed
crazy.
off.
Oh, he drove
Around
like
and
a
around them
maniac.
curves,
Run
and
out
my
in
mother and
front
I
of
just
people.
said a prayer
No.
to that and hoped for the best.
He about scared Elinor to death.
But my
That's
mama
what
wouldn't
he called
say
her.
a word
She's
to him.
coming over him.
Really? Wouldn't say nothing. Wouldn't talk to him.
No, my
Couldn't
mother,
stand
He
him.
couldn't scare. No, he couldn't
Oh.
scare my mother.
Oh, he
or
couldn't
me.
scare
No,
your
we were
mother.
both
I never
sitting in
rode
the
with
back.
him.
When we were sitting in the back, we just said a little
I
prayer
never did
and
ride in
held
the car
on.
with him. I wouldn't ride the son bitch.
Oh, well, he was trying to scare
Yeah.
Mom. Well, he was trying to scare my mother. That was my mother.
Well, you and your mother, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd
But
just
we
be in a
didn't.
horse's ass.
My
like
mother
that.
would have died
Sounds
before
like
she
it.
said a word. She didn't like him any better than. But he was good to me, and he sang me. He taught me this little song. Now wait a minute, I gotta think of it. Do do liksmerum sertsen, do do meet mer som fin. Du, du mag mir verschmerzen, weißt ich der gut ich der bin.
How do you remember that? How do you remember that? No.
Some things I don't remember, but that was something that was really there.
And that was German?
That was
yeah.
in German.
Okay.
And Uncle Bill and her never had any children, did they?
No.
And how old was she when she got married to him?
She was 49 years old.
And they got married. So she was a widow or a single until.
She was a spinster. She married him. She had the money saved. I'll say this for him. He got on that stock market with her money, and when she died, she had a lot of money.
So he
did not-
made her some money.
Yes, he didn't. Well,
Oh, he
Tom,
made money. Yeah.
Oh, he was smart. If I'd had known it had any sense, I'd have let him save my $10 a week. He was great, really.
But
The reason he's good to you, he's probably trying to trade her for you.
Yeah.
He was he was working a different angle, wasn't he? He was working a different
I'll tell
angle.
you, not a chance.
Not a chance.
Mm-mm. But anyway, that's the story of her.
how old was she when she passed away then?
She 78 years old, and she died in. She used to always live in Elizabeth, New Jersey. She taught English in high school, and my mother said she was glad she wasn't her pupil because she had kids that were not minding in high school at that time. And she took one that wouldn't mind what she did, and she got him by the ear and took him to every class she taught all day long, and he didn't get to do nothing else. And another time a kid stuck his foot out to strip her, and she had a heel about that high, and she just grounded it and said, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
You know what? That's what they need nowadays.
A little bit of that wouldn't
That's
hurt.
what they need,
Yeah.
that nasty.
A little bit of that wouldn't hurt a thing today.
Yeah, but you couldn't catch the kid by the ear now. That'd be child abuse.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Dragging on
now
her.
I know my dad thought that that she was going to leave him all some money, but she ended up giving you like $3,000, didn't she?
Yeah.
$3,500, and I was glad of it. I never made a dime of it, and we come down and put that money down on that place in Arkansas. And when we sold it, we got $83,000, and we put $3,000 down.
So Aunt Nasty made you some money.
She didn't know that she made us happy.
Yep.
But she could give you a whole bunch more, but she left a bunch to the
She
blind.
left $40,000 to the Boy Scouts of America. She left $60,000 to the hospital that Bill died in, and some other smaller amounts.
Okay.
But she ended up with about $250,000 or $300,000.
Which is one hell of a lot of money.
Oh, that'd have been what
Even
time?
this
What?
is a lot of money.
That was a lot
Yeah.
of money at that
I thought the
time.
lawyer got it all.
How much
I'm
she
sure
give
lawyer
that old
does.
woman she met in
Oh,
the
she
park?
met an old woman in the park, and she didn't ever know her before, but she was the only friend that my how she met her. But she would listen to Aunt Grace's, and she left her $600.
Really?
Just a woman she met
She
in the
did.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
Boy
Dad
Scout,
and
she left
Elinor
them,
and your dad
She left the Boy Scouts.
took
a lot
good care
money.
of her. Did everything. She'd
Well-
come, they'd bend over backwards to do things for her.
Yep.
Feed her steak and everything else, and she kind of treated them that way.
No, she gave it, and she said if I quit smoking, I could have that diamond. I don't know what I'd done with it, but it was huge. It was like a carat and a half or something, that he had given her.
So she didn't buy it. She
no,
had
she
bought
bought it probably.
it. Yeah, well, yeah, yep.
But anyway, she offered that on to me, and then that crooked lawyer she had took it all. She fell in love with her lawyer.
She did.
Yes, and he worked with widow women all around. He was the one that helped her make that.
So that's probably where your thoughts come from. The lawyer got some.
Well, because Granddad and them talked about it.
Yeah, that's where but that's the way it was. It was a sad story in a way with her because she lived a miserable life.
So she,
Okay.
so she probably passed away. What in the 70s?
Let's see. She was
Had to be.
78. She died after my mother died quite a bit.
Yeah, because I was dating you.
Yeah.
So it had to be 72. After
It'd
72.
have to be 72 or 3.
Okay.
I've got it somewhere. I've got that. I'll have to
70s,
look it up for
Yeah.
you.
So
it
you,
was in the 70s she passed away, probably.
Yeah.
so your mother, when she
She
passed,
died at 64 and 58.
what
1958.
was
mother
it
died
suddenly?
at
Was
No,
it?
no, no. Mama was. Wait a
58.
minute. I got Mama. 58. She died.
My grandpa died, Nemma died, and Emma died
Who's Emma? Who was Emma?
Nima.
in 58.
Oh, Nima. Okay.
In 58?
Yeah. Because we was down in Texas when grandpa died, and then we got that job done, and we was over there in eastern Kansas, and Allie come and stayed with us,
She died in
and she was
1958.
in the hospital.
Your mother did.
Mhm.
She
What?
said, "I'm gonna live till you get to the top."
She
We got to the top
you
that
got
night.
what I've told
the
you when
next
she was
morning I
born.
come down, Elinor.
Yeah, that's
passed
on
away.
here. What? Was she sick? Was it sudden?
No,
What?
no.
What?
Oh, she died with a stroke.
You're
A cerebral hemorrhage is what they called it. Probably like what an aneurysm is now.
okay.
One of her, because of her high blood pressure, the blood vessel in her head broke.
Now, didn't Grandma Allie, after your dad passed away,
She
and
had a
went-
stroke
but
and,
no,
and
but-
lived
no,
through
she
that.
She went back to school, didn't she?
Oh, she went back to school and taught.
And so she could be a teacher.
She
Oh,
she
okay.
taught. She went to school at Maryville, Missouri, where I did, but it was called it wasn't the State Teachers College at that time. It was called the Normal School, Maryville Normal.
Okay.
So let me ask
That
you
was
this.
the old
Let me
name
ask you a
for it.
question. So when he passed away in 41, did they have Social Security, or how did you guys survive?
We did not have Social Security.
So where did they get? Where did you guys get enough money to
We
survive?
my mother went back to school and worked, but your Ed come down and helped us that summer. Ed and Evelyn stayed with us.
So that was already after Grandpa had
After
moved
Grandpa
north.
died that last year, and he farmed that out, and we had the sale, and we had that money.
Now, so
Say-
Evelyn, your granddad and Evelyn were married before he went to war.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah, they had a
Dad
baby.
was born when Grandpa was gone, and Dad actually said that he remembered Grandpa coming home because he got kicked out of the bed. He was sleeping with Grandma until that point. And then he said he was pissed off. He didn't know who that strange man was that
In
was
the
sleeping.
bed,
Yeah, and he had to go to his own room, which he'd
Yeah.
never been before.
No, and we lived at Westboro, Iowa, and when Ed come home, and he was outside there, and he froze to death because he come from the
Panama, right?
Panama Canal. He guarded we called him the Panamanian hero.
You did? Is that what you called him? Oh, that's funny.
And under his, it wasn't, but when they'd do their things and brush up on their skills of getting in the jungle and stuff,
Mhm.
he got that jungle rod under his arm. Ed did. And there was an old major in that army that cured him.
Really?
I can't remember what the cure was.
So
But he got-
Ed went to Panama.
And yes, he was in Panama. He said, now this is the story I got, and you tell me if it's true. I was told that by him that him and a buddy went out and got hammered the night before, got drunk. They were late to quarters, and everybody else got sent to Germany, and they were late, and they went to Panama. Is that the story that you got as well?
I haven't heard that, but that's probably what happened.
That's what
happened.
Grandpa told me.
His Herb, he slapped that nurse, and they met. What'd they do to him for that? Herb Rudkin.
They sent him overseas when he slapped the nurse.
And see, he had one eye out. They sent him overseas.
Yeah. He poked
So-
a pair of scissors in his eye when he was about 8 years old.
Oh.
Ooh, I bet.
And he had only
Yuck.
one eye. And he
She
was
called
on
him
limited
son of a bitch,
service,
and
and
he
then when he
slapped
slapped
her
that
down.
nurse, like,
Now my dad, when he went to overseas in the war,
He
was he
was-
married to the lady there? Was he married before he went?
yes, but they never got along. And then afterwards, he went back in Nebraska. He went back after in the service.
Hastings or
yeah.
Lincoln, something like. Is that where he met my mom then?
Yes, at Lincoln, wasn't it, Roy? Lincoln, Nebraska. It wasn't Hastings, was it?
Might have been Lincoln.
I think we're
Was
most
it-
of Lincoln. She
When
worked
Ed
Probably
met
Lincoln.
her was Or was it Omaha?
I don't know.
What town was it where Ed met,
You mean John? John met.
or John met
Maisel.
Maisel, mom.
his
Maisel.
mother? I can't even think of her
Maisel,
name. I'm trying to
Maisel,
think of all the
Maisel,
names.
Maisel.
What, Maisel? Oh, for heaven's
Was
sake.
he-
Oh, that was Hastings.
See, I
Hastings,
thought it was
was it?
Hastings.
That's where John met Maisel.
She was working
Yeah,
at a factory.
Hastings.
She was working at a factory or something, wasn't she? Or,
Well, yeah, but did they have a, what was it? They didn't have any.
Well, you know, they still, well, I don't know whether they moved all that stuff out of Hastings out there or not.
They had.
What were they doing in Hastings?
ammunition. dealer.
Ammunition.
Oh, is that what it
They
was?
had
There was an ammunition dump
dump,
at
and then they
Hastings.
had a bunch of soldiers up there. That's where
The garden
John
that
was there.
ammunition
So
dump.
my dad was still
Air
searching.
base deal.
Yeah, when he came back from the war.